Wow. Thank you, Gerald Celente, once again for joining us.
Thank you.
Well, I mean, thanks for his viewpoint. I mean, nothing else.
Yeah, nothing else. Guys. We'll have Gerald up here in just a couple of minutes. Bob, in your newsletter, you made the list here of 5 U.S. banks. Total assets of over $1 billion were seized by the regulators, pushing this year's tally of failures so far to 45 as the recession drives up the unemployment and home foreclosures. Community Bank of West Georgia in Villa Rica, Georgia Neighborhood Community Bank in Newman, Georgia Horizon Bank of Pine City, Minnesota Metro Pacific Bank of Irvine, California, and Mira Bank of Los Angeles were closed yesterday, actually a couple of days ago, by state regulators, according to the statements from the Federal Deposit Insurance Corporation. The FDIC, by the way, was named as the receiver of the 4 banks. More news and information, Gerald Celente, right after the break. We'll be right back.
You're tuned in to the National Intel Report, the Real Talk Radio Show.
Well, Warren Buffett just recently said cap and trade, a regressive tax. Peter Schiff said giant tax on productivity. We have Gerald Celente with us from Trends Research. Buongiorno, my friend.
Oh, thanks for having me, John.
Well, I appreciate you coming on the program. Well, we know what Warren said. We know what Peter said. What does Gerald Celente say?
Well, it'll do very little to improve emission standards, and it'll prove to be a boon for the companies trading these things, and it will be a tax, and companies will trade them. And when you really think about it, and this scheme has been floated for many years, if you want to cut back on emission standards, there's other ways to do it. You don't try to make money off it, put a cap on it, or trade it. So it's just another Wall Street scheme, an Enron game with a new end run. That's about all it is.
You're on with Bob Chapman, an international forecaster, Robbie Noel from Republic Trading Group, which, by the way, also, folks, a reminder to you, in case you haven't heard his program, on this network called The Flip Side from 6 to 7 p.m. Central Time, Monday through Friday. Gerald, the treasuries, I brought this up in an earlier segment. Biggest treasury sale, the auction here in over 30 years. Have any inside clue here as to how much the Fed Reserve is actually buying themselves?
No, we have no idea. We're so removed from this. Nobody really does know. There's so many schemes and deals going on behind the scenes. The transparency that President Obama had promised is a mirage. The Federal Reserve and Wall Street have taken over Washington. The American people are just becoming indentured servants to the entire system. It's the biggest sellout of America in its history.
We're 233 years old. I don't think anybody could have imagined that put pen to paper back when. Declaration of Independence, writing the Constitution, Bill of Rights, the guys that started this little party. In the short span of 233 years, Gerald, what are your figures saying that the banksters and all of their pogroms here have managed to indebt us? And to what dollar tune?
Well, the dollar tune is $546,000 per family.
Oh, hey, I can write that right now.
Yeah. And yeah, I'm sure you could pay it off as well. Well, with all those kids also with those student loans.
Hey, everybody else is kiting stuff. Why can't I?
Sure. Matter of fact, why don't you make it a collateralized debt?
There you go. There you go. Over 500,000.
$546,000 the government's indebted to each household.
The history.
So the point being is that there's no way out of this. This is all smoke and mirrors right now. It's a game. And what they're doing is they're bankrupting the nation, and the people are going to become even more and more indebted in so many different ways, not only financially, but politically, morally, spiritually. the merger of corporate and government powers, according to someone who knew a thing or two about it, was called fascism by Mussolini, and that's what's happened to America. It's fascism.
Would you say that this is, as a lot of people seem to heap all the blame onto the subprime crisis, but don't you agree this has been a debt problem that's been basically growing for 30-odd years, and now we get to see the fruits of its labor? Oh, absolutely. And when the subprime problem hit, and we had forecast actually in the summer edition of the Trends Journal 2007, which came out in late June, we had predicted that the financial crisis would hit between July and November of 2007 and hit in August. And they blamed it immediately on the subprime problem, while they were totally ignoring all the leverage buyouts, the mergers and acquisitions, all of these deals being made with no money down. And as you so aptly point out, you cannot have a society that's built on 72% consumption and have it sustain itself. And the whole fallacy of having banks so-called freeing up lending so that people could borrow and then they could spend is insanity.
Give us more of what we don't need, because we've been on this binge ever since the investment banks and the bankers in general figured out that they could make little pieces of plastic, give people an account number, and, well, they could charge their way into what Madison Avenue has been selling as the American dream. Gerald, you've been a globetrotter. You've been all over this planet. What is it with the American people? Do they even know who the heck they are anymore? Do they have any connection with culture, with history, with anything? Have they bought into the idea that we're nothing but consumers to keep this economy rolling?
Listen to the news today. On my way over here, just back to the office, I had on NPR, and how I love how they talk in these arrogant, quiche-eating terms, and here they are, the major story. They're babbling on about Michael Jackson. Mm-hmm. And it's one after another. It's the ABCs, the NBCs, the NPRs. The nation has lost its mind. It's the dumbing down of America. Empire America is collapsing in front of us. And you don't have to go back to the Romans to see empire collapse. And you don't have to talk about Nero playing the fiddle as Rome burned. They're talking about Michael Jackson. The people in this country are totally out of touch. They still think we're number one. And we are. We're number one in crime. We're number one in the amount of people being incarcerated. But according to OECD data, which, of course, is Organization of Economic Cooperation and Development, the barometer upon which we're ranked in terms of health care, education, quality of life, on and on and on. We don't even win, place, or show in areas where we were number one. So to answer your question, the American people are either afraid to see what's going on and they want their Obama security blanket, or they're ignorant and they don't want to know what's going on.
You, in a system such as we have, you have to have the full faith in the credit system. And Obama just came out and recently said that, the recession appears to be bottoming. They come up with this ludicrous spin public relations thing of green shoots. But I'm looking at this, and it seems as if the American media is afraid to go against what Obama is saying out of the White House. But Russia television is not afraid to say it. I played the clip that they did the news story on the American economy, and it is in the toilet.
Who is the American media? Look at the sellouts of the Washington Post, all of their pinky in the air arrogance. And here they're willing to sell out $25,000 to buy you a position as a lobbyist with the Obama administration, and they promise no one will ask you tough questions. How more transparent can it be? There is no media in this country. And as far as people believing the smoke and mirrors, I mean, Vice President Biden, by his admission, actually said that the Obama plan is doomed. I mean, let's remember that the Obama, when they pushed through the stimulus package back in January, when they started hawking it, unemployment was at 7.2%. And their forecast was if you don't pass the stimulus package, unemployment in 2009 is going to rise to 8%. And in 2010, if you don't pass it, it's going to go to 9%. Well, voila, here we are, halfway past 2009, and the official unemployment rate is 9.5%. And what did Biden say? He said, quote, "The truth is, we and everyone else misread the economy."